Welcome to the Echo Tips Podcast.
Here's a sneak peek into what we're going to cover in this week's episode of the Echo Tips Podcast.
Ding, ding, ding.
Hello, and welcome to the podcast today. As our prelude kind of alluded to, if you weren't too sure what that jingle sound meant, it is notifications. That's right, we're going back and dusting off the topic of notifications on the Amazon Echo line of devices. It started off pretty limited, but has really grown over time, and when I started digging into these settings, I thought, wow, there's a lot going on here, and so we thought we'd cover that today. Also, as a blurb in a recent news event, it was announced or discovered, I think by accident, I think by cordcutters.com, that one of these features had been flipped on by Amazon, a new feature connected with stories, and they kind of found it kind of annoying. So I'm going to tell you how to shut it off because it is connected with notifications. Maybe you don't want your Echo chiming all the time to go ding, ding, ding. Guess what? I got a story to tell you. Or ding, ding, ding. Guess what? Those shoes are on sale, right? Some people ultimately find that sometimes more frustrating than helping. But we're going to take a look at some of those options today and this feature that Cord Cutters said that you might want to shut off because they found it annoying. They even said it played during some music, which I don't know if that's a bug or not. I don't remember ever hearing a notification sound during music, but then maybe I wasn't paying attention. So anywho, first off though, before we delve into the meat of our material, I'd like to welcome our new listeners. Welcome new listeners. I'm the host of the podcast, David Ward. I'm an assistive technology instructor with the New Vision program at Goodwill, based here in the Blue Ridge Mountains of Southwest Virginia. And you'll find our podcast, in case this is totally unacquainted, is really a nuggetized versions, 5 to 15 minutes, we try to keep it, where we tackle different things about the Echo. In particular, lately, some of the AI announcements and smarts that are coming and slowly rolling out. For example, on Kids Plus, we discussed that recently in a podcast. Hopefully, we'll be having some other really exciting things happening here before the end of the year, as Amazon has more or less confirmed. They said that's going to happen. We're going to see some of these AI tools before the end of the year, these advancements in the A-Lady. And we've covered a wide variety of things over the last 5 seasons and now in our 6th season. And we're just about to break, if I haven't checked the counter yet, we're just about to break 120,000 listens to the podcast. So it's a pleasure to have you here. We cover all sorts of topics, from those that are applicable to young ones, to parents, to caregivers, to seniors, skills, games, hardware, the whole caboodle. So we've covered a lot in those past 5 seasons. All right, so before we delve into our content today, dealing with notifications, we're going to take a brief break about an announcement for our podcast, and then we will be right back. This episode is brought to you by New Vision at Goodwill Industries of the Valleys, and also made possible in part by a grant from the Virginia Board for the Blind and Vision Impaired. New Vision is a program of Goodwill that provides information services and assistive technology training to individuals with visual impairments. Goodwill Industries of the Valleys is a nonprofit organization serving Central, Southwest, and Southside Virginia. Goodwill's mission is to empower individuals, strengthen families, and inspire communities. These shows are provided for educational purposes. This podcast may not be retransmitted, sold, or reproduced without written permission from New Vision. Well, hello again, and welcome back to the podcast. As I have mentioned, we're going to be talking about notifications today, a feature that started off rather limited, but has really grown over time. So as a high level, if you heard me saying about this at the beginning of the podcast, notifications, the uniqueness of notifications is typically when you interact with the A lady or your Echo, right? You're prompting it. You're saying, A lady, turn the lights on. A lady, turn the lights off. A lady, what time is it? A lady, what's on my calendar? But often in life, there are things that you don't know are coming, or you don't know that the UPS truck's about to drop off that package, or you don't know the Domino's pizza guy is coming, or you don't know there's a weather alert. And that's where notifications come in. The ability for your Echo to prompt you and say, hey, I think there's something you need to know that's going on. Now, historically, this has been one of the most annoying and frustrating things for new Amazon Echo users. There are a lot of people that have unplugged their Echoes and don't use them anymore because the notifications were all turned on pretty much out of the box, and they found it drove them nuts. Like, hey, you want to reorder toilet paper? Hey, there's a $5 discount on those shoes. Hey, did you know blah, blah, blah? And it constantly was bothering them. Now, just for clarity, the notification, this is the sound you may typically hear.
Ding, ding, ding.
Okay, so maybe I exaggerated that a little, but that is the sound you would hear. And once you hear that, that's your notification sound. Often your little ring on your Echo is going to change colors and it's going to be spinning. That's also like a visual indicator for you. I think it's yellow, guys. I'm really blanking at the moment, but I'm pretty sure it's yellow. And it will be spinning around. And that's when you're prompted to say, hey, A lady, read my notifications, or what's the notification? And she'll come back and tell you what it is. So all the way back to episode 80 of the podcast, we discussed this, some of the really early versions of this. Later, we talked in episode, I think, is that 115? We talked about weather alerts. Up here in, I think, 216, we talked about snow or rain alerts. So there's finer granularity in weather alerts that you can have. We talk about, getting notification of sales and discounts on products before you can buy them. I think we covered that in episode... You can check me on this, guys, but I think it's probably like episode 138. I had several repeats here, so we've covered notifications quite a bit, but if you go back and look at the catalog, you'll be able to dig those out. But to be honest, today we're going to cover a high level of this, so you'll probably be able to find it all on your own. Okay, so now we don't really have a live demo of any kind of sort today, unfortunately, because I can't really figure out a good way to do that because, notifications by definition come whenever they come. And so it's not like I could just sit around and wait for one to come in or any way that I could think of to prompt one to pop up. But first off, let me tell you where you're going to find these. Now, the one that Cord Cutters talked about that popped in is dealing with news breaking items. And they said they just heard a jingle even while they were trying to just listen to music at work or something, and they found that pretty annoying, so they wanted to shut that off. So this is where you're going to find all your notification settings, including the one that you're going to want to change in this regard if you do want to shut that off. And what you do is you're going to go open your A Lady app on your phone or tablet. In the bottom right corner, you're going to go to the More button. I think it's got like 3 dots on it. You're going to tap on that. That's going to slide a rather large menu out that's got all these different things on there. About halfway down the page to 3/4 of the page, you're going to see the Settings button. And that's for all settings across all your different Echoes and accounts. You tap on that Settings. And that's going to bring up a rather large scroll menu that has got longer over time, but you're going to scroll down to, and I think it's on the first page, might be part of way down the second, depending on your device. It says Notifications. So not very hard, pretty simple to find. Notifications. Now there in Notifications, I'm going to jump ahead to whatever the Cord Cutter guy said is a new setting, and that is the topic of interesting stories. Okay, interesting stories. So if you scroll down to interesting stories, tap on that. That's where you can shut it off. In the next page, under interesting stories, you pretty much have 2 settings, if I remember right. One is this new kind of almost global setting you'll find under all of these, which is, would you like this to ding at you in the middle of the night? And most of those are all set to no, unless, I don't know, it's connected to a fire alarm or something. But, you leave that one off. But the one below says basically, do you want this setting? Do you want this to work or not work? And you would toggle that off. And that's just what the Cord Cutter guys suggested because they said it was annoying. So you shut that off. and then you can go back to the main list. So back under the main list, what can I tell you about this? There's actually a lot going on in here, and I don't know if we're going to be able to discuss it all today for time's sake, because it's kind of elaborate in some concepts. It's like some of them, it's just a lot more than an off or on setting. So we'll start at the very top. There is a main like global setting for notifications at the top you can tap onto, and it'll take you into a little like extra detail about notifications, about how you can be notified. Like, do you want it to the Echo to sense your presence? Remember, some of the modern Echoes, like the Dots and the like, have this like ultrasound ability to detect a person's presence as they come in or leave a room. So they can use that to detect your presence, and that way they're just not chiming willy-nilly all around the time. They'll chime when you walk in the room to kind of give you a second ding ding, so that you know something's going on, that you don't miss that. There's some additional things commented on that page about how your phone can be configured so that, I think the phone is configured so that it helps with proximity too, or when you go from one location to another, like I have an Echo at work, or it might be connected more to getting the notification on your phone through the A-Lady app. I'm not really sure, but you can dig into all that stuff right there. Now let's go back to the main listing again. This is the general notifications listing. After you get past that first one at the top that says notifications, you pretty much have an alphabetized, I don't think it's pure alphabetized, but it's an alphabetized, it's mostly an alphabetized list of all the stuff that you could imagine, from hunches to things you wouldn't even think about connected with notifications. For example, announcements. So announcements is the ability to like send a broadcast through all your Echoes in your house. Like you'd say, "Hey lady, announce, hey kids, we're leaving for Walmart in 15 minutes." And it would send that message out across all the Echoes and broadcast an audio clip of your voice. Well, ironically enough, under notifications, there is announcements, and you can tap on that and clarify how you might want to get a notification. And then that one's actually a bizarre one because it's about getting the notification on your phone or tablets in addition to your Echo, which might be good if you have kids that are using Amazon tablets. That way their tablet dings, even if they're not near an Echo, it'll ding and say, "Hey, Dad said we're leaving for Walmart in 15 minutes, So that could be handy. That one's kind of a weird one, to be honest. But if you go back to the main listing, you have some other things you wouldn't necessarily think of as either, like under the communications, like if people call you using their Echo, or you call maybe grandma and grandpa call you at the house on your Echo. Some customizations connected with announcements and that. I don't recall off the top of my head right now what all those were, but I would imagine it would be with like voicemails and stuff too, like if they leave a message for you or something. But there are all sorts of, now the alphabetized listing is going to have, more importantly, a lot of neat things connected with skills. So like Domino's Pizza, or maybe use a particular like weather skill or something like that. So these allows skills to independently like give you notifications. Now, to be honest, I don't know if I've ever really run into one where I felt like that was compelling or needed. If anything, it would probably be something like a Domino's Pizza or delivery service. And I should honestly look and see if Instacart or something like that, or DoorDash is in there, because that'd be kind of cool. I get like a chime on my Echo that my guy's like 5 minutes out with my Chinese food or something. That might be useful. I don't know. But you can go down through that list. There is some neat stuff that we might do a separate episode under just news. So I know I mentioned earlier interesting stories as an annoyance that Cord Cutters mentioned, but there actually is a whole separate thing called news. And if you go into that, it's highly configurable. You can choose your news outlets, and and will they be allowed to prompt you? I don't know if you could actually choose types of stories or not, but definitely news outlets, which may be good if you have like a local news provider who's in there and there's a tornado warning or something. Of course, that's also available via another mechanism. So if you go back to the notifications near the very bottom, you'll have stuff related to weather, like weather-related alerts, like something, life-threatening, like tornadoes, hurricane, etc. And then also you have just the very basic one, which I kind of enjoy, which is rain or snow. Is it going to rain or snow tomorrow? I don't necessarily know if it's a blizzard, but I would like to know if it's going to rain or snow tomorrow, right? And so generally my Echo, I think generally will chime in my presence maybe in the evening. I guess probably whenever the weather report gets refreshed or something. But I'll be walking around here and go ding ding, and then and then I go, oh yeah, what's going on? And, oh, it's going to rain tomorrow, And so that's kind of informative. I kind of find that beneficial. So that's just a high level view of notifications. Feel free to play around with that and look through some of those settings. There is a lot going on in there. Following. All right, well, anyhow, that will bring this episode more or less to a close. If you have any thoughts or suggestions for a future episode, feel free to reach out to us on Facebook or Twitter at Goodwill Industries of the Valleys. And you can even email us, old-fashioned email, that's right. And you can do that at info@goodwillvalleys.com. Now, in either case, please, in the subject line of the email or at the top of maybe the post on Facebook or Twitter, just say, hey, I'm trying to reach David of the Echo Tips podcast, or I had a question for the host of the Echo Tips podcast, and that way it will find its way to me. And so we appreciate your listenership. It's that time again, although you didn't really need to do it this go around, to turn the Echo's ears back on, start practicing some of the many things. I should say you're just going to delve into the app and find all those settings. But until next time, we do thank you for listening.
Notification: it is the end of the show.
Cha-ching!
Thanks, Dave. Let me tell you a bit more. Let me put on my official sounding voice. Ahem. Ahem. This episode is brought to you by New Vision at Goodwill Industries of the Valleys, and also made possible in part by a grant from the Virginia Board for the Blind and Vision Impaired. New Vision is a program of Goodwill that provides information services and assistive technology training to individuals with visual impairments. Goodwill Industries of the Valleys is a non-profit organization serving Central, Southwest, and Southside Virginia. Goodwill's mission is to empower individuals, strengthen families, and inspire communities. These shows are provided for educational purposes. This podcast may not be retransmitted, sold, or reproduced without written permission from New Vision. Phew! Thanks for listening.